I'm Tibo and welcome to Sin Saga. The 4 episode series Eyes of Wakanda is officially streaming on Disney Plus. While there wasn't much conversation leading up to the release, I still want to share my thoughts and reaction. This show has been greenlit for a long time ago, probably 4 or 5 years back, and has now dropped in its entirety. Marvel Studios partnered with Axis Studios, an animation studio, which sadly went bankrupt earlier this year. The animation style, inspired by artists like Ernie Barnes, is completely different from something Marvel has ever done. I found it not bad. I found myself into the story and the concept of having each episode taking place in a different time period. The backgrounds were beautifully crafted, and I liked the costume design, especially for characters like Iron Fist and Black Panther. The color detailing and effects helped tie the visual storytelling together. That said, I personally didn't always connect it with the characters' animation. At times, the characters didn't quite match the background. I prefer an animation style of X-Men 97 or Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man way more. In episode 1, I liked seeing what it means to go into the outside world as a Wakandan warrior, as a war dog, something that's introduced from back in Black Panther. Doing missions and retrieving vibranium artifacts, they also talk about the feeling of freedom and how it's for everyone something different. In the second episode, we dive into a real world mythology following Achilles, a Roman warrior fighting for his home, and his friend Memnon. Along with fellow soldiers, they hide inside the Trojan horse, gifted to infiltrate enemy's territory. Memnon ends up stealing a vibranium necklace. I couldn't help but thinking of my mom during this episode. She's a sucker for Roman history, and she used to tell stories like this when I was growing up. By the time I got to the third episode, I was more into it. I finally came at the point I wanted to see more. The fact that from now on Wakanda was featured made it more familiar, and by that I wasn't struggling so much with the animation anymore. This is my favorite episode because of how Wakanda is portrayed, not just as a powerful nation, but as the enemy. It's accused of stealing from another tribe, putting two powerful ancient tribes in conflict, and then comes Iron Fist tying it all into the historical looting of African artifacts. It raises powerful questions when something is taken and becomes important elsewhere, even becomes part of a religion or cultural identity, who truly owns it? This episode opens the door to an interesting discussion about ownership, heritage, and how deeply people connect to cultural symbols. The last episode ties everything together. I like the dynamic between the young prince and the Wakandan warrior. When the X was shown, I hoped that they would do something cool with it, and they did. I was incredible. I wasn't a big fan of the monsters they were fighting, but the Black Panther looked incredible. Overall, I connected more with the writing and storytelling than with the animation. I'm glad this show is finally out. I'm probably not going to rewatch it very soon, but if you're a fan of Wakanda, this is absolutely something worth checking out. It deepens the lore and gives fans something to connect to. Let me know in the comments which episode you liked the most. If you enjoyed this video, hit that like button, subscribe to Cine Saga, and ring that bell so you don't miss any upcoming Marvel content, and I will see you in the next one.